Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Friday, July 24th. News from Arkansas today. Not exactly Arkansas again, but a familiar figure here. Hillary Clinton is in the news as Democratic presidential candidate. There was a big story in the New York Times. It's been carried by newspapers around the country this morning that recommendations had made of a criminal investigation of Hillary Clinton's handling of email while she was Secretary of State. Well, only hours later, this story has fallen apart pretty significantly. No, there was not a recommendation for a criminal referral. There apparently are some questions about some email handling by others, perhaps. Won't matter. The New York Times has changed the story substantially from its original form, but is making no apologies. These are the Clinton rules, as Gene Lyons wrote about pretty memorably in a book back during the Whitewater non-scandal. And most recently for the Arkansas Times, you'll find a link to Gene's column on the Clinton rules. It means never having to say you're sorry, in short. It's happened once again to Hillary Clinton. She'll still carry the mark from this story, even if it is corrected. The correction won't be seen, of course. We had another mass shooting in the United States last night. It was in Lafayette, Louisiana, in a movie theater. It raises all the usual comments and questions. The suspect, he shot himself, apparently had mental issues, and the question of whether we do enough to keep guns out of the hands of people who are mentally unstable is one big question. This happened to occur on the very day that President Obama gave an interview to the BBC in which he said the greatest frustration of his time as president had been his inability to do anything about gun control issues. The U.S. is far ahead of the rest of the civilized world in per capita shootings. Interesting chart on that you'll find on the Arkansas blog today as well. I do wonder, after previous mass shootings, we've talked about more police in schools, more police armed with guns at military facilities. Do we need to have to put armed people at movie theaters? The truth is, so-called soft targets are easy picking for people with high capacity weapons, and you can't put out enough police to guard against madmen who will take advantage of that situation. Interesting survey in the New York Times today that I talked about on our blog, and it's spurred some comment there. Racial attitudes in the United States. People seem to think there is still a great racial divide after 7 years of President Obama, and things are not getting any better. I raised the question of whether President Obama perhaps has exacerbated the situation in a way. He's certainly been used effectively as a divisive political tool in Arkansas, to name one place. A little bit of news on the local media front. Paul Greenberg, the 23-year editorial page editor of the Democrat-Gazette, announced today that he's going to be stepping aside as editorial page editor. He'll continue to write editorials, but David Barham, who's been at the paper, is now going to lead that page. It'll be interesting to see if that there's any change in direction and tone. It'll remain conservative, I think you can be sure. A survey today you'll also find on the Arkansas blog shows that Arkansas has the fewest number of lawyers per capita of any state in the country, only 20 for every 10,000 citizens, and of course they're clustered in big cities. There is a shortage of lawyers in Arkansas. A lot of people think that's not a bad thing, but in truth, people do need lawyers, and they're hard to find, and there's some efforts underway to improve access to justice in Arkansas. And finally, in the justice system, Conway officials today charged a 14-year-old boy with capital murder as an adult in the death of his two grandparents found shot at their home earlier this week. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back next week.